we did experience something known as the Met Gala. We had a lot of awesome, people come, or Black celebrities attend the Met Gala every year. Shout out to Rihanna and ASAP Rocky. There was a person who said ASAP Rocky's outfit looked like Captain Crunch. Woo! But it's more than cereal when we talk about the Met Gala, right? The Met Gala is not just about cereal looking as costumes or Kim Kardashian being dressed as Batman with no face. This is about it's something a little bit deeper, and not a lot of people know about the history. And so we have our activist, our podcast historian, T. Shaw, and he's going to tell you more about the Met Gala history and how it relates to what's going on with us today as a people. So take it away, T. Shaw.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So the first thing I see with the Met Gala is always like rich people kind of dancing around, parading. And I always wanted to know why, right? It's like, why do y'all get to dress up in the fanciest, ugliest clothes and just prance around? And people really care about that stuff. Like, I didn't understand it. I never understood where it came from. So I had to do a little dive into the research to see, like, what is the purpose of this? And is there any real purpose? And I did find that there is somewhat of a purpose, and we can kind of discuss it. So the Met is actually a museum. It is the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and it's responsible for the maintenance, acquisition, and the curation of tens of thousands of historical clothing pieces, jewelry, shoes, and accessories. So the Met Gala is essentially a fundraiser, right? So if you've ever been a part of like a scholarship or even like football, we had banquets and stuff. Usually they are selling like tables at these banquets, and they have a few different tables that people buy, and all of that money is taken and put it into the scholarship, and then that's how the students get it, right? So this is something similar, but at a much larger scale. The money used is directly tied to the funds that is used to kind of take care of I think it's called the Costume Institute, which uses that looks at different costumes, or what we can call just dress, like what people would wear over, I think, a bunch of different centuries. I think beginning with the 15th century. And I do believe this is all Western like dress. So this is the United States of America. It's Europe. It's white people. If you weren't too sure. What I did find out is that often these people that are coming to the Met Gala that are wearing these nice costumes and things like that, like they're essentially sponsored. Like someone's paying for their ticket, and then they're wearing the designer, and that is like why it kind of becomes like the biggest like fashion show in the world each year. But that is used to preserve this history of like um fashion more than anything. And then there are debates out there to saying like, okay, is this really worth it? But I think this year's Met Gala is something that you can't even write. Like this is something you can't write. This is like a TV show. So this year it was the theme was In America, a lexicon of fashion. And the thing that was most interesting to me is that there was a protest outside of it. It was a protest to defund the police. If you can't see, I'm trying to point to my poster on my wall.
Right there, yes.
But yes, it's to defund the police. And understanding that the NYPD is one of the biggest, like I think has the biggest police budget, not only in the United States but in the world. The NYPD gets more money than some people's military. So they wanted to prioritize care over cops, and that was their message. I understand as an organizer why you would choose the Met Gala. A lot of people are like, well, why would you protest that? Like, those are some of the most influential and powerful people, and some of the people with the most capital that you will ever come across in your life. So if you can get a few of them to see your vision and see your protest, like you have a platform right there. They don't even need to necessarily come outside, but the fact that like that you're staging your protest there, like you could have staged it at just a random corner in New York, right? You could have got some traffic, but that is one of the most heavily trafficked and watched events. And a number of people were brutalized and arrested and dragged out. So I think when we think about like the Met Gala, like what is this at the like cost of, or what is the burden that we get from the Met Gala? That's what I think about. Like one of the bigger topics was that AOC, which is one of the most progressive congresswomen in like Congress, right? She was there and she was wearing a dress that said tax the rich. A lot of people didn't like that. People thought it was performative. And in a way, it is performative, right? It's like if you are for the people, then you know that you had to know that there was people protesting out there, and you didn't stop by. You didn't say nothing. And it's a lot of people that do feel the same way as those protesters, but they didn't acknowledge them. So I think like it also draws me to like ask, like, why do we care so much about this event if those people can't show that same care for you and those things that you stand up for and those things that you believe in? So I think that those are my first like initial impressions, because it's like, yeah, I always thought that Met Gala was something completely pointless. And I see now that there is some type of point, but is that point worth it? I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that it takes a few things, right? It takes people believing that they can actually one day get that message across to those celebrities. And and I think that as an activist, you can appreciate this. T. It's like all of this stuff is the long game. Right now, this is the short game, and so this year maybe no one acknowledged it, but you keep doing this, you keep putting pressure. Eventually, hopefully, Black Twitter is going crazy. Other Black celebrities are going crazy. And like now the pressure is on the celebrities, even if they don't want to believe, even if they don't want to buy in, now they look crazy if they don't. And that's sort of the worst case scenario, but it's still a case scenario that I feel like activists would take advantage of. And it's like, you got to keep pushing and keep the foot on their necks. And so I think that's a beautiful point that you made. Like, this is where everyone is at. Everyone's outside, everyone's doing their thing, and now you have to acknowledge us because now we're disrupting your event. And guess what? Had you put just a little bit of attention in our issues throughout the year, a lot of this stuff probably could have been mitigated. There might have been a lot more progress, and maybe we wouldn't have felt the need to have to show up. But
Yeah.
we got to remember that these people are in a state of urgency, right?
Yeah.
And I think that because they are in that state of urgency, it is very important for them to apply pressure. And even if they don't get the result that they want this year, they've made the impact just by us talking about it. Right.
Mm,
They've made the impact just by us having to acknowledge it, because we can't ignore them. They didn't sit at home. You know what I'm saying? They weren't pouting. They went outside, they put their bodies on the line, and now we have to acknowledge them because of the risk that they took and the boldness that they took it with. So I say shout out to them. I say keep the pressure on them. Keep the
yeah.
pressure on them. Because they're going to be think pieces about this. There's going to be pressure that's going on, and we just sort of gotta take it from there.
Yeah, big facts. And even what you said, like they've already made an impact. So famous trans actor India Moore, she's a star of the hit show Pose. She put out a real thoughtful Instagram post about like attending the Met Gala, and that this will probably be her last Met Gala. And just to quote a part of her Instagram post, she says, "We organize millions for a museum on stolen land that Black and brown people suffer on, unless white supremacy thinks that they're exceptional, but not for the people. Can't we substantially, in a generous way, alleviate suffering and poverty? I am surprised that I was invited, and I'm grateful for the gesture. And I want us to be more sincere and thoughtful around how we take from people that we don't care about and not accept the truth, so that we can grow the heart to change it." And she mentions a little earlier in the post that it didn't sit right with her that she saw them outside protesting, and that she essentially like ignored them, or didn't ignore them, but that she didn't join them, and she didn't like embrace them, right? And that other people saw that, and other people felt that too. And that there's a line. It's like, okay, because again, we were talking about, yeah, like Serena was there, and Rihanna, and people that we probably know that care about us too. They were gifted these tickets. So I think you do have to understand that they're trying to toe a line. It's like, okay, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be wearing this outfit. I'm supposed to be here. This was what I've been like invited to do, right? But then it's like there's people outside really protesting, and getting arrested in the name of things that I deeply care about. And like, they're not a threat because the police are there, and we always hear that the police is security for like rich people, and I think that that proves that point. So I think that for our celebrities that do feel this way, and people that do seek to be celebrities, or people that seek to be rich, or people that seek to be billionaires in the system that we already have, right? I want these people and our listeners to think about like, what would you do in this situation, right? Like, how can we start to be better people where we're not just kind of doing what the status quo says, and we start to like make ourselves uncomfortable by doing the right thing.
Right, right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. I think, yeah, because there's, like you said, there's like really no risk in sort of jumping on that. And I feel like with the Met Gala, and like I'm not the, Paris, London fashion show guy. Like I'm not really into all of that. But when I think about the Met Gala, I'm just like, all right, so all these black people are there. So I'm just like, all right, well, what is the Met Gala doing for black people
Mhm.
specifically? And maybe someone can answer that question for me. Like, I'd love to hear it, like send us some DMs, but like, I don't know that they're doing that much for black people. And so for me, I always sort of wonder, like, outside of just showing up in something nice looking and stunting, like people like to do, black and otherwise.
Mhm.
What the hell does the Met Gala do for us again? Someone remind me. And so this opportunity where people are saying, defund the police or refund the community, like this is like, oh, I'd be at the Met Gala, like, oh, there's something that's relevant to me.
Mhm.
Look at that. Look at that. All right, yeah. Let me go over there. Like, you want to interview me? You got to interview this protester. Like, what's
Yeah.
up?
Yeah, because that's as on theme as it could be, right? It's called In America. Like, this
Right.
is what's happening in America. Let's do it.
Exactly.
The Americans
Exactly.
are not giving them a voice.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think that's basically where I stand on it. And so, thank you to those activists who put their livelihood and their bodies on the line. We definitely salute you. And we hope that this conversation continues. And we're honored to be a part of helping tell your story and the impact that you had on something, as I'm gonna say it, not impactful as the Met Gala. I don't care about keeping a museum with white artist clothing
Mm.
alive and well preserved. I just don't. I don't have the luxury of that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Feel
I
you. That's
don't.